Welcome to TV's Recap Show, the show where I recap every single game from yesterday's NBA action in the bubble in a short amount of time. Let's go. The first game we're going to be talking about is the Miami Heat versus the Denver Nuggets, where the Miami Heat were able to pull off the win 125-105. A game where, for the first half, it really did seem like it was a pretty close, intense battle. Denver were getting some good production from people like, Nikola Jokic, obviously, Monty Morris and all that. And the Heat were hitting them back with a few shots of their own. But the problem was that in the second half, the Heat just completely broke away. They got 22 points from Jimmy Butler and 22 points also from Bam Adebayo. But what really broke the game open for them was in the fourth quarter, where Kelly Olynyk came in and scored all 20 of its points in the fourth quarter to really burst that game wide open. Denver's going to struggle without Murray, Harris, or Bart in their starting lineup because of their offensive production. And Miami have looked like a really solid team coming into this bubble, and they pulled off a pretty big win here against a formidable opponent in the Denver Nuggets. The next game we're going to be talking about is the Utah Jazz versus the Oklahoma City Thunder, where the Thunder have defeated the Jazz 110-94. The takeaways I took from this game is that the reasons why the Thunder were going to be good, I predicted it beforehand. I mean, they're just a really solid team with good players all around. I mean, just a very balanced scoring effort. Shea had 19 points, 15 points from Gallinari, 16 and 11 from Steven Adams, and also Chris Paul with 18, 7, and 7. It's just a very nice mix of a good scoring mix, is what I like to say. And for the Jazz, the struggles I predicted they were going to happened yesterday. With Donovan Mitchell struggling, going 5 for 15, only 13 points, there wasn't really much help around him. I mean, Jordan Clarkson had 11 points, but he really struggled after coming off a really good game against the Pelicans beforehand. And you can't expect anyone else really. I mean, Conley struggled, Gobert struggled, and this is what I'm just worried about with the Jazz. Is they're gonna play good defense, but how far can this defense really take them when they're not gonna have good production anywhere else? The biggest factor for them is getting Jordan Clarkson in rhythm, because he's gonna have to be their second best scorer for them to succeed. But it was a good game for the Thunder. Shot of 50% from the field, good win. We move on to the next game, and we're going to be talking about the LA Clippers absolutely demolishing the New Orleans Pelicans, winning 126-103. The one thing to describe this game is that threes kill, and the Rockets are really salivating the same thing. Look, we can win this way, because the Clippers set a franchise record of 25 threes in this game, and a lot of them were the same type of thing, just coming off the screen, pulling up, easy shot. And the biggest beneficiary of that was Paul George, who scored 28 points, and all of his field goals were threes. He went 8 for 11 from the three-point line, and he was absolutely phenomenal. Great production also by Kawhi Leonard, scoring 24 points. Reggie Jackson off the bench, scoring 15. Pelicans struggled throughout this game. They just could not get a flow going. And then, even though they had Zion playing, he only played 14 minutes. He's still on the minutes restriction, but it didn't really matter this game. Whether Zion played or not, they were still going to get battered, and that was a really tough blow for the Pelicans, who their 8th seed chances are slowly but surely getting more slim. We move on to the next game, which is the Philadelphia 76ers versus the Indiana Pacers, where the biggest story of this game was freaking T.J. Warren going off for 53 points, a career high, and it was just the T.J. Warren show. And the Philadelphia 76ers, did not play bad. They had some great performances from Ben Simmons, who had a good all-around performance. Tobias Harris dropped 30 for them, and Joel Embiid went 41 and 21. He had a phenomenal game, but they just could not stop T.J. Warren, who 53 points, 20 of 29 shooting, 9 for 12 from deep. It was just an absolute fantastic game. I urge you to see the highlights if you can. And I don't know about the 76ers. They just did not want to double T.J. Warren. I think they were just thinking in their head, at some point he's going to cool off. At some point. And it just never happened. He had, I believe, over 20 points to start off the game, and then he finished the game with 53. It was just a rough game all around, just defending him, and they just could not. There was just no stopping T.J. Warren at that during that matchup. and the 76ers could have definitely held that better, but they just didn't want to really commit to T.J. Warren, and he absolutely killed them. Great game. I urge you to see the highlights, and with Oladipo playing, I mean, they still have no Sabonis, but T.J. Warren, man, that is a game that he's definitely going to remember. And now the final game we're going to be talking about is the primetime game, the 8:30 Eastern tip-off, Toronto Raptors versus the Los Angeles Lakers. And the Raptors put on a defensive clinic, winning the game 107-92. Kyle Lowry absolutely put on a virtuoso type performance, 33 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists. OG Anunoby, 23 points, 8 for 9 shooting, 3 threes. And the Raptors just played phenomenal team defense the entire game. It was a very good back and forth until they broke off in the fourth quarter. But at the end of the day, like they held Anthony Davis to 14 points. LeBron could have been more assertive, but he wasn't really. And sure, they had some good contributions off the bench for the Lakers, but it was an exemplary effort by the Toronto Raptors to hold down the fort, and they got just great contributions all over the shop. I mean, Van Vliet had a double-double, Lowry had a near triple-double, and the one thing about this match is, and I want to say for sure, is that this has definitely woken up the NBA fans up to like how good this team is. I'm sure Kawhi Leonard carried the team throughout the playoffs last year, but there's so many great moving parts, which makes this organization, which makes this team work. And yesterday was just 100% a clear example of how good they could be when they're at the top of their game. Thank you guys for listening to this NBA recap show. Remember to please follow TV on Basketball on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Remember, if you're watching this on YouTube, to like, share, and subscribe. See you guys tomorrow. Peace.